Trips and Traps is back. It's April 14th. I'm Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
Feels like it's been forever.
Yes, it has. It's been a long, long time, but we're back. A 3-week hiatus on Trips and Traps. We've got 5 races.
Well, let's get started here. We'll take a look at our first race of the 5, and that is race number 8 from April 7th. This is a maiden, a 2-other-than allowance for New York breds. Sort
of an interesting race, and we're going to pinpoint the one horse that ran exceptionally well in here, and that's the gray horse that you're seeing outside in this duel, Fiery Footwork, who just runs amazingly well, and this is a classic example of a race that becomes pretty much a complete meltdown.
Yeah, absolutely. The horse that's on the lead here, the 3 Quick Money, is setting a quick pace in here. Quick Money had gone out to establish quick paces in the past. And, Fiery Footwork here, if you like Fiery Footwork, I would have liked to have seen Fiery Footwork sit just a little bit off of Quick Money here. Just sit second maybe here. You don't have to go head and head through a half and 44 and 4. But, and another factor here, the horses that look like they're getting perfect trips right now, the 7 and the 9, Catskill Bay and Pete's Parley, are, decent horses in here. They tire so badly, too, that this pace was so wicked, the only survivor is Fiery Footwork. Everyone else comes from way back.
Right. There's Fiery Footwork in the lead. These 3 horses run last, second to last, third to last, and third to last. This is the eventual winner, and the others come from way back. And the amazing thing here is I think that Pete's Parley didn't run that badly chasing. Not great, but not that badly. Quick Money, Catskill Bay is just finished. But the winner gets a perfect trip, System Restored, who's 5th, but he's well back in 5th. And the others clunk up for a piece. But, geez, Fiery Footwork. Now, I'm not saying he was... When going into the race, there was a real possibility this would happen. In fact, I played the race for a meltdown. I didn't know it would be this extreme. Obviously, it's hard to predict it would be this extreme. But the reality is that Fiery Footwork, as you said, if he had rayed a little bit, blah, blah, blah. But you have to also understand something else. Quick Money was coming off 2 blowout wins. He was 7-2. And some of the thinking was, well, if we let him get away with murder, we're never going to catch him. So it's sort of a rock and a hard place. But Fiery Footwork, if he should find himself in a spot with less pace in the race, assuming he comes out of this race okay, they can't beat him.
And the horses that were won, too, were long shots in the race, System Restore and City Trooper. I think people will probably look at the race and, these won't be horses that'll be overbet. These are horses that won't be overbet next time out because just the way they are.
Yeah, System Restore never takes his money. He's been running well all winter. He was an overlay in this race. City Trooper was coming off of a long layoff, but I think he'll take some money because people might think, oh, he showed some of his old signs of life. He's not likely to get this kind of setup again.
All right, well, fast forward to a Wood Memorial Day now on a Saturday. We'll start off with race number 4. We're going to look at the 7 Jupiter Trio. This is a maiden special weight for New York breds, and Mike Hushin first.
Yeah, this is sort of an interesting race, and you can already see Jupiter Trio just steadying back, and you'll see this gray, another gray, get completely eliminated at the start. Sort of an interesting race, because the winner of this race is Iron Lou, and Iron Lou's the one horse. He breaks a step slow, he takes command, and he ends up wiring the field. But interestingly enough, all the horses that chased him finished fairly well back in the pack, and it's horses that come from well back that finish 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of the rest of the field here. Jupiter Trio is the horse we're looking at right now, but Iron Lou was a horse that was actually on Trips and Traps, I believe, after his debut on January 16th, and maiden 25 that day, stepping up into a special weight. They must have known that he was doing well to keep him up for a special weight on the Wood Memorial Day. But you see the horses chasing 2, 3, and 4 wide on Jupiter Trio. They're going to just start to fall off here. And the 12 horse Faulkner looks like he's getting a great trip. He comes up pretty empty in the stretch, and Sailmate gets a pretty good trip off the pace too. The 6 horse there, but Jupiter Trio still to get in the picture. There's Jupiter Trio right now, and you're going to see that he's going to be very green through the stretch. Yeah,
he's green in the stretch, and he's sort of the closers follow each other a little bit here. Sailmate ends up running down Faulkner right at the end of the race for 2nd, and Jupiter Trio's right behind them in 4th. See how he's green? You can sort of see him lugging in. He's turning his head. He's just the rider's having a little bit of trouble with him. He's obviously a green horse. Iron Lou, they had entered him in a claiming race, scratched him, and they put him in this spot on Wood Memorial Day. Feels like somebody cashed a bet. They knew he was doing well. Because trip or no trip in his debut, this was a much, much tougher spot, at least on paper. I don't know if it played out as tough, but he ran so much better, the winner. Jupiter Trio, he'll take money in his next start, but you know what? He'll also probably break much better, have more speed, and likely run a much, much better race.
Well, our race to bring you in this first segment, we'll go to the stakes part of the Wood Memorial Day card, and this is the Bayshore. Race number 8, we're going to look at the 2 Buffum here.
Yeah, and we'll talk about a couple others here, but it's Buffum that has the really lousy trip. You can see the 3 horses down towards the inside and the back of the pack. Buffum's in back. You've got Justin Phillip down the rail. He'll have some trouble that hurts Buffum. And JJ's Lucky Train, who's right there, the eventual winner of the race, whose rider, Jose Ferrar. And we'll look at some of the head-on after we see the pan of this race. And you'll see Jose Ferrar gives this horse an absolutely perfect ride. And one of the things he does in giving him a good ride is he skunks David Cohen, who's riding Buffum.
Several times he skunks David Cohen. Right here in the backstretch, you'll start to see it when we go to the head-on shot, just how tight it gets on Buffum there. And also toward the end of the turn, when Buffum looks to angle outside, keeps him trapped down inside as well. And you see Buffum moving up on the inside here under David Cohen. A horse that's, kind of an intriguing horse, ran that big figure first time out, raced it really, we're not so sure about if it really was worth that kind of a figure, but came back in the Remsen and UAE 2000 Guineas and was unplaced in either of those races here. But comes back in the Bayshore, has a little trouble there in the turn, steadies a little bit. Then Justin Phillips going to start to steady a little bit back here too, and Buffum's going to steady once again.
Yeah, and all the while JJ's Lucky Train and Jose Ferrar are keeping Buffum in, so when Justin Phillips just stays a little bit, Justin Phillips had a good trip in this race. He was simply third best at best in here, but Buffum gets shuffled back even farther, and it's an overcommitting to the rail that caused David Cohen. Look, he broke from the inside, he didn't break that sharply, but from that point he never adapted. Now he tries to angle out here, and we're going to pick him up, and you can see him. Justin Phillips finds a seam inside. Buffum is here. JJ's Lucky Train still is on his flank. And once again, Buffum, he finds a small hole. If he had a ton of horse, he could have busted through there, but he didn't have enough horse. And basically, JJ's Lucky Train and Jose Ferrar are doing very good race riding and leaning on him. Buffum never gets a break in this race, and as been pointed out by Eric, he was shipping over here from Dubai. He had run in Dubai just about 2 months ago, so it's rare you see a horse coming here this quickly from Dubai. And all things considered, Buffum's been a hard luck horse, a lousy trip in the Remsen, et cetera, et cetera. They're towards the back, these horses. You can see them, and obviously you follow Buffum with a blue hat. But you watch Jose Ferrar, who's riding the winner of this race, and he really just keeps Buffum in every time he tries to get out.
Yeah, you'll see Buffum kind of get banged around in between horses there a little bit as well on the turn, something that you missed on the pan shot here. And, also the fact that he's just jammed down inside there, just not a good setup there for Buffum. And I'm curious to see what this horse does, because obviously with him returning so quickly from Dubai and running in the Bayshore, you don't see Godolphin do this a lot. They must think that he's got some kind of ability.
He does have ability, and you're right. They've handled him like he can run. He'll come back in a non-winners of one at Belmont Park, and he'll beat a field in all likelihood. How good he is going forward, I don't know, but he's better than he showed in this race, and I'm not so sure he doesn't belong with these horses. Will they try to win a non-winners of one and run him in the Woody Stevens? I wouldn't be surprised. As you said, they show a lot of confidence in him.
And the winner, JJ's Lucky Train, a horse that, I think his connections, if they pick the right spots out all year, they'll have a very nice year with this horse. He can go long, he can go short.
Yeah, and he's probably better going long and staying away from the tough horses, but we'll see him as well in the Woody Stevens, and hopefully we'll see you show up in our email box, because we love to get help from you, and we need the help. Trips and traps at NYRAInc.com.
Come on back for the second segment. We'll have the Wood Memorial.